Hi, I've been trying to make this video for 3 years, and you would think with all that preparation and all that mind to do a video that I would look better and that there'd be better quality, that I'd somehow have some studio and my hair done and all that. But no, because God planted in my heart some things, and I started like doing little videos or whatever about how I was feeling about stuff. And I don't know, I just did it because I saw other people doing it, but I had no intention on posting it. But then God had given me a vision before, and I was so insecure about him saying that I was going to be doing anything in the public, because I believe I'm kind of awkward in public, that I just chalked it up. How do you say it? I just said, okay, well, I know how magnificent you are, God, in this short relationship that I have been actually active in with you, Lord. I know that you can do anything. And so you just do it then. I don't have to necessarily agree, do I? But I think to a certain extent, you kind of got to submit to his way. And we'll get to that part. But when God tells you to do something and he starts shutting doors on you and putting you in a situation where he's like, do what I said do, is for your own good, you don't get dressed, you don't do anything, you just decide to follow, and it just is what it is. So he told me to do this, and I'm doing it. And I didn't even know exactly what I wanted to say, but I think that right there is it. He planted the seed years ago. He constantly reminded me. My life started moving in a way. I experienced devastation and loss and rejection, ridicule and judgment. And I experienced all those things, and I'm just giving the names, but it didn't really feel like it was on a big scale, because I didn't really care so much about, how do I say this without being rude? Like, this is another thing I'm working on, how to say what I'm feeling without being cynical, sarcastic, and rude, which is what I used to be like. So I'm just going to say, when I was going through it, I was very upset. After each incident, I was just like, oh my God, they're such haters. But then God was trying to really explain to me and reveal to me how people are, how to respond to people that are doing stuff to you, and to understand that sometimes they don't even know that that's what they're doing, that they're so unhappy, and that the enemy could be using them. And so I'm going through the hurt and the pain, and I'm going through the judgment, and I'm going through the embarrassment, and people are just treating me a certain way. Everybody sees it. They're talking about me. They're saying I'm doing stuff that I'm not doing. And these are people that you expect to have a different type of mindset and a different type of heart that are doing these things. And so you're kind of like, wow, why is this some Jesus stuff I'm going through, And the level of self-esteem that I was working with always kept saying, no, you not experiencing nothing. You ain't got no haters. You be all right. You fine. You weird. You're awkward. You have a past. You have a history. You deserve all of this that you're getting. But God just kept saying, isn't it suspicious? I saw a TikTok. That lady had me cracking up. She was like, when old thoughts come up creeping in your mind, and I thought immediately, like, whenever I'm having a breakthrough or a moment with God and those old things start to climb up and I start feeling like, isn't that suspicious? And I was just like, wow, it really is suspicious how you get the same response from people, and people say the same old stuff to you and bring up your old you, and they just kind of act like you deserve to just stay stuck in one spot forever. And when you try to grow, then they want to bring up the past like you're not so great. But God even told me that. He was like, it's good that they bring up the past, so they see you in a contrast, in a light, like the woman at the well. So the woman at the well's got 5 husbands. How did she get to that point? I don't know. She could have had daddy issues, mommy issues. She could have been molested. She could have just been abandoned. She could have been a poor widow. You got 5 husbands, none of them are yours. So basically, I guess she's a whore, and she goes to the water well in the middle of the day when nobody's at the well because it's the hottest. She meets Jesus. Jesus tells her about some water. She's being thirsty, and he's just trying to give her life. You know what I'm saying? And finally, she accepts it because he talks to her about stuff that was specific to her that there was no way that he knew. And so God did that to me. He said, I understand. what the challenges are. I understand what you're thinking. I understand that you don't feel equipped for this. But if you look back over your life, you're perfect for this. And I just still was just like, okay, just knock yourself out. Get creative, I'm a blank canvas, But there was a little bit of surrendering that I had to do. And the surrendering came when my life just started going in a way that I never thought it would go. Like, I never thought I'd be in the situations that I was in. And I never thought that I would ever be called on to do any of the things that I was called on to do. And my actual profession, I'm an LPN, I never worked in a nursing home. I did training in a nursing home, but I never worked in a nursing home. I never worked in a hospital. I worked in one doctor's office. I hated it. And after that, I've been in home care. So I literally go in people's homes and take care of their children. And I always had the worst cases. Like the cases that nobody wanted. I always had the cases. I remember somebody was like, how does she always get a case? How does she always be on these cases? And it wasn't luck. It was the fact that I was so humble. There was no case that I wouldn't take. Whether the parents were narcissists and they thought they were paying me and not the government or the state or the insurance company, or whether the parents were gross and nasty and there were conditions in that home were just absolutely totally horrendous. But I would have did anything to take care of my family. So I tolerated those types of cases and clients. And but there was other things going on in my life where my life was changing because of the things that my husband was doing and the call on his life. And I was raising children and, very pivotal moments in my children's life started coming up. And I just kind of got to a point where I just said, I remember so long ago, I said to myself, everything about me is wrong. Like I just had this feeling like everything about me is wrong. How do I figure out what is the best course of action for me to take in my life to have peace and joy? Because I didn't have peace and joy. I was always riled up and angry and upset and irritated, cynical. Cursing, just like frustrated. And people would look at me and never expect that was boiling up under my skin, but it was. I wasn't a tough guy. I wasn't a fighter. I was none of that. But I was an irritable pain in the butt, okay? Nobody wanted to be around me. I can affect the whole room with my negative attitude. I just literally walked in with Satan behind me and wreaked havoc everywhere I went whenever I felt like that. Like the enemy was just using me to just ruin people's day. I was horrible on the road. I had road rage. I was just... I'm telling you, y'all, I got sick of myself and I wanted a better way. And I remember asking that, but I wasn't really ready or knowing how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. And so this is why I'm on this video right now, is because I didn't know how to do it. And I wish somebody had told me. I think I would have been further along. But if I didn't do it the way that I did it, I wouldn't be able to get on here and tell you how I did it. So I'm going to start posting videos. It's called Confessions of a Baby Christian. My name is Delia. And I'm going to be so real with you. You're going to feel like you know me personally, but my whole goal is to do for you what I had to do sort of for myself. I'm not taking the glory. I don't know how to say it. Like I had to make the decision. I had to get the information. I had to seek the information and I had to be obedient. That's what I had to do. The Lord did everything miraculously. You know what I'm saying? So Abraham had to do the hard thing of dragging his son up to the mountain to sacrifice him. He had to carry that in his heart, but he knew he was doing what God asked him to do. And when you know you're doing what God is asking you to do, you kind of get on like an autopilot, because between you and God, nobody's more important, and you don't let nobody get in between that. Not your child, not your wife, not your baby daddy, not your employer, not your pastor. Excuse me, I don't mean to, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes, you just have to do what God's saying. I'm not saying go against your pastor at all. I'm just saying, sometimes you just can't be so hyper focused on being, a certain way and just, doing things that you're so caught up that you're not hearing from God. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to go and do stuff and be helpful and participate and be at every service. But if God is asking you to go visit somebody in the hospital and it falls on a Wednesday, I mean, I think that your pastor would understand that. Don't be sitting there feeling that guilt. You can just call your pastor and be like, I feel like God put it on my heart to go and do that. And I'm telling you, God talks to people in your circle. You'll be surprised because your pastor might say something like, you know what? He told me the same thing. Or I thought about you today deeply and I kind of had this feeling you weren't going to be there tonight. No, God bless you. Do what the Lord said. You know, you just never know. Don't walk around with all that guilt and stuff. I'm telling you, when it comes to what God is asking you to do, he's asking you to do something good, right, justice, correct, in order. He's never asking you to step out of line. Okay. And because he draws the line. God draws the line. So if he's asking you to do something, have faith and have confidence that he will strengthen you to do it. Okay, Gideon? And so that's it. Confessions of a Baby Christian, #1 video. Hopefully next time you see me, I'll look a little bit better. But if God brings it to my heart to share something with you, you're just going to get what you get. Love you guys. Good night.